Hello friends, this is Tunde Cole, the founder of the Transformers Network and Transformers Church. First of all, I want to say thank you for your support for our channel. Thank you for subscribing, for liking, for your comment, and for sharing our videos. That mean a lot to us. With your support, we've been able to reach more people with the content of this channel. So please keep supporting us by sharing, liking, and commenting on this video, on our videos. Thank you. In this video, I want to respond to one of the comments from the last video upload. And if there's any comment of yours that you would like me to actually talk about, please feel free to ping me. You can reach out to me at tunde.cole@ttc.church. And if you have not watched the video, please find the link to the video in the description. And I'll also provide links to the previous episodes in the divorce series. Now to one of the comments in the last episode. Are there any time that God is allowing their separation to reconciliation? Both parties to get to know Him more and then put them back when they have been cleared about their role as a husband and wife. So how I read this is that, are there any time that God will allow separation between two people, but ultimately to reconcile them? And that is after the two parties have been cleared about their role as a husband and wife. What I can also pick there is God allowing separation so that the two parties could get to know Him more. So when I read the comment, I felt I need to talk about this. If I was going to type out my comment, I'll probably be writing an essay and I might not be able to reflect my inflections in the typed response. So the first thing that jumped out to me when I read this comment is the bit where it says, are there any time that God is allowing the separation? The word that came to my heart is this: God has given humans the power of choice. People choose to marry each other. In my opinion, God does not marry people together. People marry by choice. God has not designed a specific person for another person. Watch this. If you think, or if people believe that there's a particular person that God has designed for somebody else, okay, what if that person does not want to marry you? Do you think God will force them? No, He won't. God respects people's choice. And that is why I believe a lot of people in this world are not saved. They are not believers. They have not received the gift of salvation. They have not received Christ into their life as their Lord and Savior because man has the power of choice. So if God would not force a person on another person and respect human will, then talking about God allowing separation there, we should bear in mind that God respects people's choice. So people choose to separate. People choose to go separate ways if and when they think this marriage is not working, and because the foundation is not right, or because something went wrong because of their negligence. So people can choose to separate, but separation is not the same thing as divorce. When people separate, right, it has to be purposeful. They need to be working on themselves intentionally. There should be an outcome for the separation. I know sometimes when marriages have problems, the two parties in anger or out of pain could separate before they start talking to each other again to work on themselves. People got to be careful. If you're separating because one party hurt you or because the marriage is hostile and is a threat to your life, to your health, you might want to get some help. Okay, and you want to reconcile in the future, you might want to involve a third party, a professional, so to say, or maybe your pastor. If your pastor is skilled in this area, not all pastors are skilled in this area, so you got to be careful. You want to get a professional help, or you want to get counsel or help to get you both together. But bear this in mind, like I said, God respects people's choice. Don't try to force the other party back into the marriage if they don't want to. But if God speaks to your heart to be patient, right, probably is working on the heart of the other person and the person is responding, but just that they are in a bad place. They are not in a good place yet to respond or to come together in the marriage. But bear this in mind, people have the power of choice not to return to a marriage and to go separate ways. That is why you need someone you need to involve people in the situation. so that you can know where you stand. So don't keep waiting on someone when they are not ready. We don't keep waiting on someone who has no intention to come back into marriage. God is not allowing a separation onto reconciliation. People will choose to reconcile. So another part that jumps out to me is that is about both parties to get to know Him more. If two parties are not together, if two parties are separated, one party cannot influence the other party's seriousness in their faith. So you on your side might be getting closer to God, try to get your acts together, and the other party might not be doing anything. I'm hoping I'm speaking to someone's heart here. Don't hold your life bound, hoping the other party will respond the way you have responded or see things the way you see things. Someone needs to sit both of you down and to help draw out intentions and perspective about the situation of the marriage. So you might be knowing God, getting closer to God, but the other party might not. And please don't try to hint or try to suggest that the other party should get to know God better, get closer to God. Friends, one of the things I think many of us don't know or we're not taught about marriage is that power of choice. A person can choose not to be with you anymore, and God will not punish them for that. I think I just touched on something that's very sensitive. People have the power of choice because someone actually might be in the wrong place today. They may have made the wrong decision when they were getting married. They may not know the responsibilities, the weight of the responsibilities that surrounds marriage, and on coming into it, they realize they can't cope. But listen to me carefully. I'm not advocating divorce. I'm just telling you how simple things is. Now, I'm not saying that people will not bear the consequences of their choice, but to think God will punish somebody else for leaving a marriage, it means that we don't really know the grace and the goodness of God. God does not condone sin, but the punishment of sin from God's angle has been placed on Jesus. So humans suffer the consequences of their sins, not God punishing them. So when it comes to the place of getting to know God more, you may know God more, but the other party may not be responding or willing to yield to God. And the other bit that stood out to me was putting them back when they have been cleared about their role as a husband and a wife. God does not put people together. People choose to come together. Please remember and bear this in mind at all times. You can influence the choice of a person, but you cannot force them to choose. People have the power to choose what they like. And if we're not careful, if we try to get people to do our bidding, to see things from our angle, we may realize that we have kind of manipulated them back into the relationship, back into the marriage. And I can tell you, things are not likely to get better because people, when a marriage is not working and there are no signs it could work, some people sometimes try to use sex, use some other things to get the person back because they know their soft spots, and they tend to appeal to those soft spots to bring that person back. But nothing improves, nothing gets better in that marriage. Right. So talking about when both parties are being cleared about when they are clear about their roles as husband and wife, one party may realize they need to rediscover what it means to be a husband or wife. But what if the other party does not see a need or they don't want to? What if they no longer want to carry or bear the responsibility of marriage? And I'm not trying to be insensitive here. I know sometimes children might be involved, but this is human beings we are talking about. And this is one of the reasons why I make it a point of duty to educate singles about the reality of marriage. Because another thing about marriage is this, many times when we come together, we have dreams, we have ambition, we have a purpose, we want to come together, we want to build life together. But human beings along the way could get tired. They may just feel tired, or they may just feel tired of trying, of pushing, and they just want to coast for the rest of their lives. And you might want to push them. Then it just messes things up. Like people are angry, there's resentment towards each other because one party is thinking this is not how we started. You got to improve your life. So I'm reminding you about the power of choice. Someone who starts a journey with you today and their ambitions does not mean that in 5 or 10 years' time, they will remain ambitious. Another problem I see with marriage is that when two people start the marriage journey, one party may be given to personal development, to growth, and the other person may think, whoa, this is it for me. I'm married, I'm settled, I'm fine. Then there's conflict because one party is growing and they are struggling because they are trying, they discover they are dragging the other person along with them and the burden is too much for them, and they want this other person to change. It goes back to the choice of the person. Does the person want to change? Right. So let me read through this. Let me read this comment again and put everything together. Are there any time that God is allowing the separation to reconciliation, both parties to get to know Him more, and then put them back when they have been cleared about their role as a husband and wife? God is involved in any marriage relationship to the degree we involve Him. So if people yield their hearts to God, and they feel like they need to separate and go their separate ways to commit their heart to God, to know God better and rediscover the purpose of marriage, God will walk with them. But that is when or if both parties have that realization and they talk about it, or they seek help, or they get other people, professionals, involved in the right way in helping them resolve the problem. But if it is one party working on themselves, there's nothing, and the other party is doing nothing, there's nothing God can do to force the other party to come into the relationship to make it work. Right. So I'll pause here. If you have any question, if anything is not clear, please drop your comment and I'll be happy to provide more, maybe a more elaborate response to you. There are more comments. We'll respond to other comments as well, and I look forward to receiving more.